Hey, welcome to the Dreppin' Stone Podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kyle.
Hey, man. Before we get started this week, we want to say a big hello to all of our new friends.
Thanks, new friends.
Yeah, and also, hey, old friends.
And hey, welcome back, old friends.
Yeah, because our whole purpose in doing this little podcast we call Dreppin' Stone is to hang out together, to talk about things that are on our mind, and to drink good drinks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we invite you to grab a glass and pour whatever you want to drink tonight, today, wherever you
This
are.
morning?
Sure.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. Cup of coffee, a little bit of OJ.
Yeah.
Could be water. But
Could be.
yeah, whatever you want.
As soon as you hear us start talking about whiskey, though,
you're gonna
you know where you're going to go.
Yeah. But we invite you to have something delicious along with us and join us on the journey.
Enjoying the camaraderie that is Dreppin' Stone.
What you listening to lately?
Listening to.
Yeah.
Went to a concert recently.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Yeah.
I went to go see Seth MacFarlane.
Oh. Peter Griffin himself, huh?
Yeah, and well, actually, Stewie showed up.
Did he?
Yeah, Stewie sang like the last verse of a song. It's pretty great. Seth MacFarlane and Liz Gillies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, incredible concert.
Yeah?
Picturesque, great day, incredible concert.
Wow.
I recently found a thing on Instagram. It's like one of those pages that they post a lot of, if you like this, listen to this.
Sure.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Was keyed on to a jazz album that I had never listened to before, never even really heard of the guy. It's Errol Garner. So if anybody that listens to jazz, I'm sure they're going to be like, oh yeah, duh.
I love Errol Garner.
But I had not listened to any of his things that I was aware of, that's what I was listening to. I'm sure I probably have heard some of his music.
Yeah.
But it was the Complete Concert by the Sea. And it's a 3-disc album.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a bunch of music. I've been listening to that like the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And just keep going back to it. It's absolutely awesome.
Wow.
Recorded live in something, California in 1955.
Yeah.
It's great stuff, man.
It truly is. It rivals those like the Vanguard sessions from a lot of those like jazz pianists. Like fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a wow.
It's a great listen.
Like I'm happy for you that you stumbled upon that.
Yeah. I listened to the first disc track one night, chilling in here in the library, drinking some whiskey, and absolutely loved it. And then came back to it the next day and listened to all 3.
Yeah.
And man, great stuff.
It really truly is.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
How about you?
So I've been kind of like working my way through some Amazon playlists.
Oh.
And the kind of the go-to right now is early 2000s alternative. For whatever reason, like that's just hitting right now. It's kind of like like the Killers, White Stripes, Red Hot Chili Peppers, like just a really eclectic mix.
Yeah.
And I love that there's highs and lows to this. It's called I think it's called Rediscover the 2000s Alternatives. It's a fantastic playlist on Amazon. It's got like I said, got a lot of highs, got a lot of lows. Great cooking music.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you
chopping vegetables,
chopping vegetable music. Yeah. I literally that's what I was listening to when I called you last night.
Yeah.
Obviously I paused it because I don't want to be rude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like you said, it's a vibe, and I'm digging it, man.
Yeah. I got an Amazon playlist for you.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those rediscover playlists.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the 1950s space.
Oh, Astro
jazz.
Lounge.
Maybe that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
I've listened to it.
I can love that.
Yeah, it's good.
So good.
It's really.
It's very much that. I was gonna say it's like
theremin, like wee, like
it's that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it plays in really well with our good old buddy Michael Giacchino.
Yeah,
Travelogue.
it for sure does.
Volume 1.
I know the exact playlist, and I love that.
It's
playlist.
Great.
I play that in situations where like I'm doing some editing kind of work that I don't need sound for.
Right.
That kind of stuff, man. I love that playlist.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Got a question.
Yep.
A very serious question. And I need you to take my question very seriously.
Okay.
Can we drink some whiskey?
Yes, we can.
Good. I'm glad.
I thought about it.
You did. I left that pause in. Yeah. Normally I take pauses out.
Yeah, but
that one I left in though.
It was pregnant.
The pause. Yeah, indeed it was. What you got this week?
We're gonna have some Irish.
Okay.
Haven't had Irish in a couple episodes.
No.
But I remember last time we did have Irish.
Yeah.
It was kind of disappointing.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't high praise.
It
wasn't high praise.
No.
I thought that day, I was like, you know what? I've got this bottle that you gave me.
Yeah.
A couple years ago at this point.
Ooh.
And I've held on to it because I knew we needed to put it on the podcast.
I
Otherwise,
just hated it.
No,
Okay.
I would have finished it a long time ago.
Okay.
But I kept pushing it back. And then, just the way that we do stuff, we find other things and then you forget, oh, yeah, we still got to do that one.
Right.
Now, this is Knappogue. Knappogue Castle.
Knappogue Castle.
The 12-year.
Yes.
Which I would imagine is probably their core
I think so.
expression.
I've seen since I bought you this bottle and been around the block once or twice, I have seen other expressions, but this is the one that I see, at least in these parts most often, is a 12-year.
Right. This is indeed a single malt whiskey.
Yes, it is.
Single malt Irish whiskey. Triple distilled, as you would expect. Bourbon cask matured.
I love it.
Yeah. Got a little bit of bottle words here.
Sure. Hit me.
Knappogue Castle 12-year-old is an exceptional single malt Irish whiskey made exclusively from malted barley.
Ooh.
It is triple distilled in copper pot stills, then aged in the finest bourbon oak casks for 12 years.
Yes.
The taste is fruity, clean, and mellow.
Nice.
Apparently, we have a quote here.
Okay.
My father, Mark Edwin Andrews, started bottling Knappogue Castle single malts in Ireland when everyone else was bottling blends. His 1951 vintage, aged 36 years, is one of the oldest and rarest Irish whiskeys in the world.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't think that's true anymore. But
thanks, but that's not what's in this bottle. Why are you teasing me with that?
Sure. So they have a 12. I've seen a 14 and a 16, and I think the 14 and 16 prominently feature Oloroso sherry. But I don't think this one does. I don't think it's any sort of aged Oloroso sherry.
Gotcha.
Would you like to hear what Knappogue translates to from the Gaelic?
Can I guess?
Sure.
How about Hill of the Kiss?
Damn. Wow, you've been using that Duolingo. Oh, by the way, our new sponsor is Duolingo.
No crap.
Thanks, Duolingo.
Well, thanks, guys.
If you would like to learn new languages quickly, Duolingo.
Duo your lingo.
Anyway, that's on the bottom.
Yeah, no, it actually has it right up here at the top.
Okay.
Gaelic definition, Knappogue, Hill of the Kiss.
Okay. To be fair, I got it from their website too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Crafted with pride, it says.
I do have some information that's not fully on your bottle. Would you like to hear that?
Yeah, hit me with it.
Knappogue Castle is owned by the Irish Distillers.
Okay.
You've heard this company. Irish Distillers is a subsidiary of another company, Pernod Ricard. Irish Distillers is the largest distiller of Irish whiskey because the largest Irish whiskey brand is
Jameson?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
And this makes the Knappogue Castle part of the Redbreast family. Part of the Middleton Very Rare family.
Right.
And part of several of our favorite Irish whiskeys, the Spots.
The Spot whiskeys.
Yes, sir.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
So same distillery. Do you think they change up any mash bill?
That is
kind of a thing.
That is a good question. I'm going to have to say yes, but I don't know that for sure.
Right.
Because, could it just be all marketing? Yeah.
Or it's
but
it's just your casks
sure
that you've accomplished or you've curated, and these are we're going to put the same whiskey in which casks you have.
Yeah.
Compared to what casks they have.
But, think about what is the standard Redbreast?
What do you mean?
The standard, core range of Redbreast is what?
The Redbreast 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, we don't have any Redbreast 12. We have the Redbreast cask strength, which I don't think is fair to put it against.
But I do have a yellow spot 12 down there.
Oh, you do?
I think
is it the regular yellow spot, or is it the one of the interesting weird ones?
I think it's just regular.
Well, we might have to throw that against it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good call.
Okay.
Our Knappogue Castle is coming in at 43.
86. Okay. That's respectable.
For sure.
It's not, it's not a
it's not
high
40.
fruit. No, it's not 40.
It's 43.
That's what I heard.
We'll like it.
Let's break into it. Ooh, yeah. there's a hefty amount out of that bottle.
It's a special edition because this is gonna be a bottle kill.
This episode?
This episode is gonna be a bottle kill.
We're gonna
take care of it.
Yeah. Beautiful. There's literally just a little splash left.
Little swill there at the bottom.
I'm gonna say like in the glass, it's a little bit darker than some Irish whiskeys.
Yeah.
I've had.
Yeah, but I would say it's right there in the what you would expect category.
For a 12-year too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Ex-bourbon.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
On the nose?
Barrel. Like
Yeah.
heavy barrel. Note.
Yeah, for real.
What I would expect out of Irish whiskey with this like charred note.
Yeah. I mean, but I would say like, I think you're right. Like it's the char that you predominantly get first. And then once you kind of get beneath that, you're like, oh yeah, no, that's Irish.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And when I say char, it's not like smoky char. It's like just roasty, toasty barrel.
Delicious char. Not like overly bitter char. Just like almost toasted.
Yeah. And not any sort of version of peat. Like,
oh yeah, no.
Like I'm almost leaning like roasted peanuts just slightly.
Sure. Kind of dusty.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I love that you brought that up because it's not like roasted peanut butter or like honey roasted peanuts. It's like it's the dust that's in the bottom of the peanut jar. Like after you've eaten all the roasted peanuts, it's like that.
Well, you know, it's just that smell of like anywhere you go where there's like just that big barrel of roasted peanuts. And
exactly.
You scoop out a bunch. It's just like the aroma.
Yeah.
That's like there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Delicious.
Just accented by this like shortbread cookie note.
Yep.
Man.
Just a little lovely Irish under there.
I love the nose of an Irish whiskey. Well, most Irish whiskeys.
just any whiskey.
Well, I don't know. I've become a little more discerning. All right, shall we?
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Do it.
No sniffing. Time for sipping.
I mean, it is incredible. Oh. What a difference you can have from one whiskey to the next.
Man,
look at the little candied peach on the end of that.
Literally. Like that's exactly what I thought. Candied peach and like somewhere between peach ring candy and like dried peach.
Yeah. For
like
sure.
Not fully one way or the other, but like right in the middle. Peach jam, peach apricot jam.
Yeah, preserves.
Yes, little chunky bits in there.
Yeah, but man, that finish, it goes into that candy peach ring realm.
It really does.
It's so bizarre. I gotta think. My head is making me think. Are we playing off of that coffee?
The last week episode?
Yeah, the coffee grain.
Maybe.
Is that like twisting the palate? Because like I
see what you mean.
Yeah. I feel like it's altering somewhat.
I mean, maybe slightly, but you got to remember that's a grain whiskey. So we're going from a grain whiskey to a straight up malt
single
whiskey.
Malt, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that might be playing with us a little bit, but I think like here's where you get to see the difference in grain versus malt.
Sure.
Cuz like this is just it's really warm, it's really like soft. It like
yeah, but that's where my brain's like getting messed up is like normally when I'm thinking malty, I'm thinking that caramelly, kind of creamy, malty thing, where this is definitely going into a fruity area way more predominantly.
And I don't disagree, but I think that's the beauty of malt is that it can bring out those, like when you're roasting grain and or malting or roasting those malted grains,
right?
That's where like the interesting flavors happen,
right?
So like you're taking this grain, it's sprouting a little bit, so that you have that, and that's where like I recently at the recent Orlando Whiskey Festival, which we're going to feature in an upcoming episode.
Yep.
I had a single malt whiskey that tasted like passion fruit, and there was no passion fruit added to it. Like it is a straight single malt whiskey, and when the lady poured it, she's like, "This one tastes like passion fruit." And I was like, no way.
Adorable.
Had it. Boom. Passion fruit.
Right on.
Yeah. And a friend of the show was there. Had it. Boom. Passion fruit.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised by that at all.
Right. But man, Irish done well.
No
it's
joke.
incredible.
I don't think I've had a pour of this. I know I bought you this bottle. I don't think I've ever tried it.
I want to say we had the opening pour together when you gave it to me. I feel like we opened it right there and tried it.
It's been a minute, so I don't remember.
It has. It's been a minute, and this certainly has been a bottle that I felt like opened up really well. Like I feel like when I first opened it, I want to say it had too much cask influence.
Sure.
For my palate at the time,
I could totally see that though. Yeah.
Because I remember thinking like, oh man, for an Irish, it's kind of bitter.
Okay.
And like I think at that point in time, our enjoyment of Irish for me specifically, I think at the time, I probably had a Redbreast 12.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were probably still in our absolute love of Connemara.
Yeah.
And we hadn't really branched out, but like, in terms of Jameson and those types of Irish whiskeys and that being your understanding,
right?
Going into this, the cask influence was, I don't want to say off-putting, but it was just different.
Yeah.
And I didn't appreciate it at the time. Where I feel like every time I've come back to this bottle, like there've been a couple of different times where I've come back to it and I thought, oh my goodness, I could finish that tonight. Like, and it was like literally like a half a bottle. It was like, I could absolutely go through this real quick.
Oh yeah.
But I kept thinking to myself, like, no, it's too good. Don't do that. Save it. Let's put it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because this needs to be talked about.
Can I say, like, I feel that way about most Irish whiskeys I have. I say most because like it's one of those like, oh, here's something that it's friendly. It's kind of like it plays within this wheelhouse, but like, man, I love me some Irish whiskey, man.
Well, and it's just, again, going back to the coffee grain whiskey last week.
Uh-huh.
My interpretation of that was like absolutely friendly, smooth, decent flavor.
Right.
Not challenging at all though.
Right.
Just enjoyable. But like this, I feel like it has enough going on that it's all of those things also, way more flavor, and for whatever reason, it's giving me more to think about.
Yes.
The proof is hitting here a little bit differently, even though this has less proof than the Nika.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's lower.
But the proof pop hits, I don't know if it's just on a different spot of my tongue or like what's happening, but like to me, the proof is more of a talking point here in a weird way.
Yeah, and I agree with you because I think like the proof is such that it's not overly challenging. Like once you start pushing over 100, I think that's where things become or can become challenging. It's friendly enough where it's sippable. It's not something that's like, "Hah!"
Oh yeah, no way. Yeah.
But it also is just high enough that it starts to meet some of those criteria that like we tend to favor in a higher proof whiskey. So like, I'm not surprised by that.
I am a little bit. I am a little bit that a 86 is like biting the edges of my tongue more so than I feel like that 90 proof was.
But I think that that's also a characteristic that I find within Irish whiskey specifically, that something at a lower proof, and I don't know if it's, the distillation process that's, specific to Irish whiskey. I don't know if it's the malt that's being used, but for whatever reason, there's something about an Irish that even at a lower proof, I find them still to be interesting.
Huh.
Whereas like bourbon,
oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like I
agree
think
with
like in relation to
yeah,
bourbon,
yeah.
like in relation to bourbon, a bourbon at 80, I'm not interested.
Yeah, it's hard to really do anything.
Yeah, like
exciting there.
You can maybe age in some different things, but like even a Scotch, like a Scotch at 80, still plays with some interesting things. Like you're getting, but there's something about an Irish where almost wherever it falls in the proof scale here that's like, oh no, here's some other things to think about.
Somehow they're able to still have volume in flavor at those proof levels where I feel like for some reason bourbon has a hard time not just tasting like caramel water.
I wonder if it's because of the way, and I think you're right. I think it's because of the way, or I wonder if it's the way that in Irish whiskey, they're primarily using they're primarily using refill casks.
Right.
And obviously you don't have the temperature swings in Ireland that you do here in the U.S.
But that's a great point. Just in terms of flavor.
Right.
Those X barrels probably still have some decent flavor
they're
still locked up in there.
Yeah, they're going to have some decent flavor. I mean, obviously you're still getting some bourbon notes because like not all of the liquid is removed completely out of those barrels. So you're still going to have some of that, but also you don't have the liquid. Like let's say Knappogue Castle is using bourbon, ex-bourbon barrels, but that bourbon was in there for 4 years. So that barrel's pretty saturated at that point.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have a whole lot of the Irish whiskey distillate moving into the barrel. It's just kind of sitting there touching the inside. Like you're going to have, you're going to have a little bit of exchange. You touching the barrel?
Touching the inside.
Whoa. Yeah. You're going to have a little bit of exchange, but also you're not going to have as much exchange between barrel and distillate because the temperature swings in Ireland are not that crazy.
Right.
Like I recognize it does get warm or can get warm in Ireland.
Right.
But you're not going from, over 100 degrees, 120 degrees in a rick house in Kentucky to, nearing
negative.
zero
Yeah.
or negative
Right.
in the winter. Like you're not having that big of a temperature swing.
Right.
So my assumption is that, all of those variables
Yeah.
just create that.
That's a great point. That's got to be it. Incredible. We got a bottle we want to put against it.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just go ahead and do it because if we talk for a minute, my glass is going to be empty.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what is it?
So against it, we're going to throw the Yellow Spot, which I don't know if you know this, but this is becoming a kind of a higher dollar bottle now. Like it was a little bit on the upper end.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Have you not seen the cost of Yellow Spot recently? Oh, buddy. Because Yellow Spot, before, let's say 6 months ago was just hovering under 100.
So is it moving more than blue?
No, dude. Blue Spot right now, SRP is $350.
Whoa.
So yeah, we've got the Yellow Spot. This is a single pot still Irish whiskey. We featured it on the pod before.
Yeah, we did.
This is a 3 cask maturation, bourbon, sherry, and Malaga.
Okay.
So all, obviously bourbon and then some wine. Matured for not less than 12 years in bourbon barrels, sherry butts, and Malaga casks.
This is from essentially the same distillery.
Yeah.
A little bit age different, or not age difference, but a little bit aging process difference.
Correct.
So yeah, no, this should be a great comparison.
Also 46.
Yeah, this should be really interesting. Can't believe I don't think I've done this.
Well, I definitely haven't done it.
This has been in my blind spot. Spot.
That was a little bit more than just a tasty pour.
For people in the know, this is same distillery, slightly different aging process,
right?
But
wow.
huge difference in price.
Oh, yeah. So Irish Distillers, from my understanding, has 2 distilleries. They have the Middleton Distillery, which is in Middleton,
Right.
Which is southwest of Dublin.
Okay.
Ish. Sorry, everyone in Ireland.
Well, I mean, Dublin's on the east coast, isn't it?
Yeah, so I guess everything's
Everything's west of
it's definitely south of Dublin.
Gotcha.
And I think they are distilling in Dublin.
It's southeast of Dublin. So you mean the UK. Gotcha.
Correct. So I'm not exactly sure if it's the same distillery.
Right.
But it's the same distillery.
It's under the same name.
Correct.
So darker color.
On the yellow?
Yep. Yellow Spot's got a little bit more color on it.
Yep.
Again, certainly that makes a lot of sense. It was in more casks.
Sure. I
Pulling
think
out
the
more color.
sherry influence there. Oh, and on the nose, you get grapey sherry notes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It's a little
totally
bit more rounded sweetness, that berry kind of jam.
Berry jam.
Grape jam. Grape jelly.
Versus go back to the Knappogue Castle, you get definitely more barrel note.
Yeah, no. It's hard now because there's so much of that barrel absolute screaming through now because
In the Knappogue?
yeah
Yeah.
because we've drank so much of it and it's just got that lovely
But there's still that apricot, peachy, jammy note. It's weird. I would say Yellow Spot, berry jam, Knappogue Castle, apricot, peach jam. Those are the outside of the barrel note that I get on the Knappogue Castle. That's the predominant nose.
Yellow Spot's got something of a fruit roll up kind of thing going on right now.
No, it's a gusher.
Yeah, just any of those kind of chewy
Strawberry.
gummy,
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna sip the Yellow Spot just for comparison's sake.
Okay.
For science.
I'm gonna do a Knappogue.
Okay.
Refresh.
Okay. Ooh, I just got a honey note.
Wonderful.
All right. For science, here we go. Interesting.
Wow.
I can see the same. I'm not saying it's the same
I know
malt, but I can see the same base level distillate.
Yeah. Agreed.
In both of these.
Yeah, they're so close.
If it's not the same mash bill or I guess they're both single malt. So if it's not the same malt,
yep,
it's so damn close.
Yeah, it's such a similar thing, and it is just that Yellow Spot's just got a little bit of a berry grape nature to it. It's just like you dusted the same dessert with some sort of
Agreed.
a shaving of something.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
underneath, it's all still the same thing.
It is the same. Yeah, it's the same dessert, different topping.
Yeah,
I put some berry compote on the Yellow Spot.
Yeah.
I put some apricot compote on the Knappogue Castle.
Yep. This is like a 3-berry cobbler. This one's a peach cobbler.
And there's slightly less barrel on the yellow spot and slightly more honey. And then on the Knappogue Castle, there's more barrel and less honey.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. That's such a cool pairing.
That is an amazing pairing. But when you throw in price,
yeah,
there's a clear winner here.
Oh, for sure.
You're getting so much more value out of this Knappogue Castle.
Easy. Because I literally just saw this the other day.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of bottle buying.
A little bottle. Bottle adventure.
Sent you some pictures. I spent a little bit of money.
Spent some dimes.
I ain't telling nobody about it, but
some purchases were made.
Exactly. I don't regret it. Well, I don't actually know if I regret it because I haven't opened those bottles yet.
I was just going to say, did you open either one of them?
No, not yet. I'm saving them. Everybody's working for the weekend.
Yeah.
I saw a bottle of the Knappogue Castle, and it was still in that like 50, like maybe just breaking $60 range.
Right.
I mean, come on,
man. That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be real particular.
Yeah.
To really be able to, separate the differences here. So if you just want to go straight dollar for dollar, pound for pound, that Knappogue's the winner.
You can get the Knappogue Castle 12 at a Wine Totally for about $50.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. Like, if especially someone who likes Irish whiskey and has like a knowledge of Irish whiskey.
Yeah. Impressive.
I would challenge them. If you handed them the Knappogue Castle, that is agreed pound for pound, dollar for dollar, the better bottle.
Yeah.
The better buy.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know about better bottle necessarily, but definitely the better buy.
If you wanted to go just straight taste and overall whiskey experience, even then it might be a toss-up.
I'm going to say toss-up, yeah, because it really, like, it's so subtly different. They're like, okay, which would you rather? Would you rather some of the more like barrel note, if that is your thing, or if that's what you want right now, Knappogue Castle's it.
Yeah.
If you would rather the jammy berry sweetness, the yellow spot's it.
Yep.
Okay, but now let me throw in something else. Let me throw in cost.
Yeah, here's how much they're going to cost.
Yeah, so you can get the same basic thing for $50 or for anywhere between 100 and 130, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which would you rather? Yeah, give me that $50.
Yeah, give me that $50 all day if that's it. Man.
And especially like,
that's crazy.
To me, this is a bottle that like your Jameson drinker. Okay. I'm now interested in something a little more bespoke.
Right.
Boom. Knappogue Castle. Here you go.
Yep. Kick up in proof.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta.
But not so much that's off-putting. just a slight like move up. Jameson's 80.
What I made that face for was Jameson's got so many different variations now.
I'm saying regular Jameson.
I mean, I agree.
Okay.
And I know what you're saying. Certainly that would be my recommendation also, would be to go here.
Yeah.
But man, there's so many different varieties of Jameson now.
Agreed. I guess what I'm saying is, okay, my friend is a Jameson drinker. She wants a bottle, though. It's for her birthday. It's not Jameson, but I know she likes Jameson.
Right. Yeah.
Jameson here in the U.S., $25 a bottle. Nothing crazy.
Right.
It's her birthday. I want to get her something a little bit nicer. I'm going to get my friend a bottle of Knappogue Castle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. A little bit more curated, a little bit more intrigue. There's no way regular Jameson has any kind of an aging process to it. It's got to just be
like
just
2 to 4 years. Like
2 to 4 years in a barrel. Like no ex-bourbon, nothing unique to it.
I don't know. I
can imagine they would have the ability with as much as they make.
I think they are using ex-bourbon. I don't think they're using brand new casks for Jameson. I could be wrong, but you're right. Like they're making a shitload of Jameson.
Which, I mean, granted, it's all out there, and you just hey, Beam, when you're done with them, send them here. Who owns Jameson?
Same company, Pernod Ricard.
And do they have a big bourbon collaborative?
Pernod Ricard owns Rabbit Hole.
Okay.
Jefferson's
pretty big.
Yep. So I mean, Rabbit Hole's not as big as Jefferson's.
Mm-mm.
They own Glenlivet. They own Abelard. They own Jameson, as we've already discussed.
That's so smart, because if you have that umbrella,
mm-hmm.
and you know that you make these products that require the barrels, and you can just circulate everything. Oh yeah, no. As soon as we're done with this over here at Rabbit Hole, y'all just immediately send that over here to Jameson so that we can utilize that to make this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. That's
so smart.
Just
to have it all together.
Lot number 40, Smooth Ambler. They own TX, like that Texas whiskey. They own, they
I mean, big one.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like they own a bunch of brands that they can just easily shift things over for. So
how are they not the biggest on the block? That's incredible.
Because you got Jack Daniels.
Well, I just mean in terms of like all the different things,
right?
Because like Jack Daniels isn't associated with anything, right? Like, it's just Jack. I mean, it's like obviously like Beam Suntory.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. Obviously, I can do like that's number one.
Yeah,
but that sounds bigger than Sazerac to me. That sounds bigger than Diageo.
Well, so I think Brown-Forman is who owns.
Right, Brown-Forman.
Brown-Forman's who owns Jack Daniels. They are the largest brand, I think. Then followed by Pernod Ricard, which is Jameson. Obviously,
they have a lot other than
like, and then Beam Suntory. So it's Brown-Forman because Brown-Forman. I mean,
what do they have?
Brown-Forman.
I mean, obviously you got Jack Daniels, so that's enormous in and of itself. But like, do you have?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you got the corner. I want to say like Brown-Forman owns Dickel also.
Brown-Forman owns Jack Daniels. They own Woodford. They own Old Forester. They own Benriach. They own Slane Irish Whiskey. They own the Glendronach. They own Coopers. They own Glen Glasgow. So like just in Old Forester, Jack Daniels, and Woodford alone.
Yeah, but man, still to say that Pernod Ricard has Jameson, the Spots, Redbreast, like pretty much the market on Irish.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, they've got Rabbit Hole, Jefferson's. And I feel like that would, you're right.
Yeah. It's I'm going to say two words. Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, done.
Okay.
I mean, so I think like to me, like when you suggested this bottle, I was excited because I wanted to return to Irish whiskey on the pod that wasn't what we had a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
Because honestly, like
a little bit of redemption for Irish whiskey.
Correct. My whiskey journey lately has been primarily comprised of Scotch and Irish. And honestly, more Irish lately. Just because like I don't know like why that's the mood I'm in, but that's the mood I'm in. And unfortunately here in America, and I was talking to our good friend of the podcast about this, like there's a good amount of Irish whiskey, but there's not a lot of good Irish whiskey.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, anybody that drinks this stuff knows exactly what you're talking about.
You can go anywhere and find an Irish whiskey.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with just straight up 80 proof Jameson.
Right.
Because I don't think there is. But there's not enough good Irish whiskey in the U.S.
In the way that we understand everything else.
Right. In what I know is possible for several reasons. Going to Ireland and seeing, holy shit, how many Irish whiskey brands there are.
Right.
And what is actually
that just
possible.
Don't have the licensing to get over here.
Or you know, the backing, or because, you know, much like here in the States, you obviously like with Irish distillers, you have just a few brands kind of controlling a bunch of things.
Right.
But then like I had the opportunity to go to the Dead Rabbit, which is in New York City, in the financial district. It's in like a super cool location. It's like got 3 floors. And it's like an award-winning Irish bar. And it's like, that's what's possible. I wonder why Irish whiskey is not, outside of Jameson, not more popular. I mean, you've got Jameson, Bushmills, absolutely. And I get it.
Right.
Because they're both solid. But here in America, why is Irish whiskey not more popular? Why is Scotch more popular? Obviously I know why bourbon's more popular, but why?
Entertainment.
What do you mean?
Think about like every like major show where you see whiskey featured heavily. It's always either bourbon or Scotch. You know,
you're not wrong.
Peaky Blinders is really the only one that I can even think of that like even brings Irish into the conversation.
Is it Irish whiskey specifically in Peaky Blinders?
They always say, "What would you like to drink?" They say whiskey. They say Irish or Scotch.
Okay.
And that's like only time I can even think in popular culture,
right,
on our end of it anyway,
sure,
over here in the States, where like that enters into the conversation.
Yeah, because
they always say, I'm pretty sure they always say Irish.
Like I think
that's like in the early seasons anyway. That's what Tommy drinks. He drinks Irish.
It's set in Birmingham, but they are of Irish descent. Interesting. Yeah, because here in the States, anyway, like Scotch kind of conjures up this like, oh, James Bond.
Sure.
And like this kind of like more refined perception.
Right.
And bourbon is, the national, the national alcohol, I guess you could say.
Right. Well, I mean, and even like, in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like I think of like there's the old, I think it's Mr. Mom, the movie from the 80s with Michael Keaton.
Yep.
And there's like a really like funny meme now that comes out of that movie where he's meeting this guy and he says, "Hey, you want a beer?" And the guy's like,
"Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
it's 8 a.m. or whatever time it is." And he's like, "Oh, scotch." Yeah. I mean, like even back then, it's always been a bourbon, scotch, beer kind of a conversation.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's time for it's that Irish point of to understand that it's its own separate thing.
Yep.
That has its own unique characteristic that is completely separate from anything else.
Yeah.
And it needs that kind of a thing.
And to me, obviously we talked about this with our whiskey episode, our whiskey philosophies for this year. I don't think you can enter a conversation, a true conversation about whiskey without considering Irish whiskey. And there's
agreed.
nothing like, I have nothing against Japanese whiskey. I have nothing against Indian whiskey at all. But like for right now, anyway, in my journey, those are not entering the discussion because of obviously the rich distilling history of Ireland as a whole.
Right.
I mean, honestly, if you look at the history of it, like Ireland was distilling whiskey before Scotland was distilling whiskey.
Whoa.
Listen, I know that there's some Scottish friends of the show that are like,
excuse me, sir.
Excuse me. But everything I've done some research on,
according to Wikipedia,
no, I have better sources than Wikipedia. It says that whiskey is being distilled in Ireland prior to being distilled in Scotland. So that says something.
Right.
And I don't think you can have a good conversation about whiskey and not include Irish whiskey.
Oh, totally agree.
So then why in the U.S. is it one of those like, here's our bourbon section, here's our Scotch section. We have three Irish. Like seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, even in like the best of liquor stores, that's kind of the thing.
Right.
Like you got this massive bourbon section. I get it. You got a decent Scotch section. I get it. And then you've got like a shelf, maybe if you're lucky, a row of like 5 shelves in a section of Irish whiskey.
Right.
That's predominantly, Jameson products and Bushmills products.
Right. I can't agree with you more. And I think but I'm optimistic. In our conversations with Dahi and everything about Irish whiskey and its growth, even just there in Ireland over the past decade.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's coming. And unfortunately over here, I think we're just gonna have to be patient.
Yeah.
But it'll get here.
Well, and I agree because I know our listeners, I know bourbon drinkers.
Yeah.
And I know that like the logical next step is going to be Scotch and Irish. And a lot of people are already making that leap. Like your standard bourbon drinker, a lot of people are like, I've had all the stuff. What else is there? And then I go up to people and I literally did it this like past weekend.
Right.
I know you love these things. Have you heard of X?
Right.
Have you heard of Y?
Whoa, Twitter?
Are you? No. Not Twitter. Have you heard of this brand? Have you heard of that brand?
Right.
Oh, you haven't? Well, let me enlighten you, new friend.
This will be worth your while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for what I perceive as the Irish whiskey revolution in the U.S. Because I see it. It's on, like we're on the cusp of it.
Right.
And once that takes hold, oh, buddy.
Yeah. I think it'll be that, and it'll be that. You're right. There will be a wave of Irish. I think the wave that Japanese whiskey is having,
right,
I think will certainly encourage everybody to look around more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whiskey is building itself up.
Agreed.
And once that wave decides to come across, that will be impactful.
Agreed. I think what you're seeing in the beer brewing world is ultimately what you're going to see in the whiskey world of like, here's a shifting perspective. This new thing, let's experience
is
this.
Primed and ready.
Exactly.
And I think that's what Irish is.
Yeah. And I'm along to ride that wave.
Yeah, I'm so hyped that we're ready for it. We're like we're in a great spot for it.
Agreed.
Uniquely for who we are.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
You know, like you look at like the bourbon wave of a decade prior.
Yep.
And had we been there, all the things we could have tried.
Right.
And that would have been fantastic. But we didn't. We weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
But we're ready for the next wave.
Yeah, but people are going to be like, tell me, grandfather, when you got the blue spot of 2023.
How did you come across such a bottle?
And you got 2, say you.
Well, listen to me, kid.
Shut up. I've got to regale you with a story of the time I walked into a liquor store and there was a blue spot for less than $300.
I bought it. I went home and immediately changed my pants.
Oh man! On that note, you got anything else?
I think that'll do it. There's a smidge left that will be enjoyed.
You want to split it? It's your bottle.
It's our bottle.
Then in that case,
it was a gifted bottle.
We should split it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm for that. Before we split the
I'll
rest,
put the whole pour in my mouth, swish it, put it back in.
That's gross.
You can have it then.
That's so gross. But if that's what needs to be done,
all right, it's all yours, buddy.
Gross. Well, we'd love to know, what do you think about Knappogue Castle, the 12-year-old, if you've had it?
Yeah, if you've had that, let us know. And then let us know also, what is that Irish whiskey that is outside of the norm that you've had and you love it.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. And especially like if you're a listener in Ireland, like I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What for you is like, that is the thing that like, that is the whiskey I'm seeking.
Yeah. You like the red breast? You like the spots?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Correct.
Here.
This one.
This is what we drink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let us know. Well, you can reach out to us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's all over the place. Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone, the podcast. Find us wherever you like to socialize your media, and we're certainly going to be socializing some of ours there also.
Yeah, why not just tag us in some stuff, share a thing, like a thing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, send us a thing. Send us a funny meme. We'll share that shit.
Oh, yeah. Why not? At the very least, we'll respond back to you.
Yeah, and at the very most, we'll absolutely crop it down so that you can't see who originally made it, and we'll share it on our thing and make it seem like we did it.
Twice in a row. And we'd love it if you support the podcast. You can do so, like we just said, sharing something on social media, but you can also support the podcast by rating us wherever it is you get great podcasts like Drip and Stone. You can also support the podcast through our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Drip and Stone. And finally, Kyle,
Nick,
you can support the podcast by telling someone about Drip and Stone.
it's such an easy activity.
It truly is.
You know?
You just walk up to someone at a local whiskey festival.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how are you?
Right.
What you drinking right now?
Whiskey?
I love it. Hey, have you heard about Drip and Stone?
Yeah.
They are a local podcast. They cover everything from Abablama to zipper etiquette.
Wow.
I know.
That's incredible.
It really, truly is.
Man.
You ever
Thanks
heard
for letting me know.
You're welcome. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Airy.
My nickname in college. Pernod Ricard is blocking me from their website for some reason.
You're not 18. Is it Pinot like Grigio?
What?
Pinot Ricard? Or is that all?
Pernod.
Okay. Oh, Pernod.
Pernod Ricard?
Well, no, I don't think that's the way it's said. That's just the way I always read it. Alabama. Pernod Ricard. Our boys over here with the special editions. That name's never going to come to me. I don't know if what our ramblings over the last 15 minutes were anything other than nerdy stuff.
I honestly, I don't think that's bad what we did
Me neither necessarily.
the last episode. I went, ding, ding. Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Do you know what a podcast is?
No. What's that?
Step over to the side. I'm going to enlighten you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Honey,
talk
hold
over-
this. I'll be right back.
Stop. Let's talk for a
I'm
second.
gonna go talk in this dark corner with this man,
Not again.
this bearded fella.